My name is Rick Boyarko, and I'm the Director of Training for Local 396 Plumbers and Pipe Fitters. When I ask people what they think plumbers and pipe fitters do, and pretty much the first answer I always get is that you clean toilets. And that's really a very, very small aspect of our trade. You know, basically what we do in this apprenticeship is we teach them how to install all the piping systems that go into commercial buildings, residential buildings, light commercial, and industrial buildings. So all the heating, all of the water, gas, there are hundreds of different applications for pipe. And we basically install all the piping and the equipment that the pipe serves and comes from. So I think my career kind of chose me, more or less. I didn't start out as a plumber pipe fitter. When I was 19 years old, I got a job working for a plumbing contractor as a laborer, and I basically dug ditches for the plumbers, and never thought that I wanted to be a plumber. I was going to college at the time, and it was not even wasn't even a consideration. You know, I felt like I had to go to college, and so I did that, and eventually I didn't really have much going on, so I moved out of state. I moved to Alaska, and I ended up going to school up there, and I got a job working in the school system as a teacher's aide, working with handicapped kids, and I ended up going to college and getting my teaching degree, and I wanted to be a teacher. And so I moved back here after I graduated, and I had trouble finding a job, and I needed to work, and so this opportunity came up. I applied for the apprenticeship, and I always liked working with my hands. I liked doing things, being active, building things, and this opportunity arose, and I applied, and I ended up getting in. You know, so I never, and that was when I was 30 years old. I never intended on, being a plumber as a trade, but now that I am, I'm very, feel very blessed that I chose this career, because it really is enjoyable. It's a lot of fun if you like to work with your hands and you like to make things for a living. What do I like most about my job? Well, my job right now is as the training director is, I guess it's my job to mold our apprentices. Okay, so, essentially I'm teaching the future of our union, so I'm responsible for all the things that these guys learn and all the things that my journeymen learn as well, because all the journeymen come back here, they take different classes, they take classes to keep their certifications current, continuing education classes. So, I'm responsible for all that. So I guess I do like that in a way, and I get to see all of the apprentices that come through here. So I get to know them kind of on a personal level, and so we have 430 members, and 10 years down the road from now, I'm probably gonna have a direct impact on every one of those members, in a roundabout way. The most challenging part, I would say, as the training director is, number one, I'm not teaching all the apprentices myself. I have a direct impact on them. I'm setting things up, but I'm not the actual instructor, so it's kind of hard to, you got to step back and you got to let the instructors do their thing, because that they're qualified and the instructors are outstanding here. And so sometimes it's hard to step back and let them do the job. And then, there's also, when the apprentices, a big part of their apprenticeship is on-the-job training. They got 1,600 hours a year of on-the-job training versus 230 hours of classroom training. And so I can't be there to watch every one of them, and that bothers me, you know, because I want to be there, you know, and there's some of our journeymen are outstanding at working with these apprentices, and they teach them, you know, all their skills. But, you know, that's not always the case. You know, they may not be with one of our journeymen, maybe somebody else, or maybe somebody who doesn't want to teach them, you know, so that's kind of a difficult thing to handle, you know, like that. You know, the apprentice might be in a situation where it's not ideal for him, you know, versus other apprentices who are put in that situation. That's just a perfect learning environment, you know, so. So when I come in here in the morning, I typically have a lot of stuff to do, unfortunately, on the computer. So I've got 60 apprentices, and each one of those apprentices has to attend class, you know, 2 nights a week. So I have to make sure that I have to keep track of all their attendance, of all their hours, of the hours that they have on the job. So, you know, I have a software system that is a tracking system. So basically I have to input all that information every day, you know, and that's the part of the job that I don't like, but I have to do it, you know, and so when I get that done, you know, there's so many things in this building that I'm responsible for, you know, not only am I the training director, but I'm pretty much the janitor. I'm, you know, the maybe psychologist. So every day I get phone calls from, you know, members or apprentices that, you know, are having issues maybe, you know. There might be personal problems in their life, there might be problems at work, you know, all these things that, you know, I get phone calls for and that, you know, I have to deal with. I have to take care of it somehow. And, you know, dealing with the instructors, you know, so my day is not very structured, I would say. It kind of, so some days just unfold themselves, and, you know, some days are absolutely crazy, where you just never get everything done. And then other days are a little bit more relaxed, you know, like the calm before the storm. One of the things that I do is I try to get out and get in touch with as many schools as I can, you know, to just talk to younger people and do outreach and let them know who we are and what we do and that sort of stuff. So those are a few of the things. Probably the number one thing, and this probably goes with a lot of professions, but I'd say the skill that I value the most is communication. Good communication skills in the construction setting go a really long way, okay? Because if you can't talk to people, okay, you can't really give instructions. If you're not good at conveying a message on, you know, telling somebody, either if you're the foreman, you need to be able to tell somebody exactly what they need to do, okay? You don't just give them something and say, okay, go ahead and do this, okay? A good foreman is gonna know that when he walks away, those people know exactly what they're supposed to do, okay? So you gotta be able to communicate very, very well. And then on the other side too, if you're the worker, you need to be able to communicate to your foreman, you know, asking him, you know, can you ask good questions, you know, can you tell him exactly what you need, you know, to do your job? So communication, I would say that is number one. And then also, you know, you've got to be able to keep a positive attitude, because you're going to get days that are not fun, you know, days that everything goes wrong, and, you know, you have to be able to, you know, keep that positive attitude and just keep going so you can get that work done, and just, you know, because you got to be able to just shrug them things off your shoulders and just keep going at it, because if you don't, if you let it bother you, then you just don't get anything done. You got to have some ingenuity. You know, you got to be able to think, you know, abstractly, you know, because you're getting a picture of something, and you've got to be able to take that picture and visualize it, what it's going to be up in the air. You know, so a lot of people can't do that. You know, so I think that's where the mechanical skills come into play. You know, some people are more mechanically inclined than others, And you know, that mechanical aptitude is pretty important in our trade. Now, I'm not saying you have to, because there are a lot of guys in this trade that aren't very mechanically inclined, but they are just good workers. You know, they show up to work every day on time, and they take instructions well, and they may not be the most gifted mechanic, but they still can make a great living doing this trade. You know, so I would say is creativity. You know, and you know, because if you're creative enough, you know, you can do anything. You know, like anytime a challenge comes in front of you and you say, oh, there's no way I can do it. And I've had so many people tell me that throughout my life, you can't do that, or you can't do that. And almost every time somebody's told me that, I've figured out a way to do it, just through creativity. When you stay positive and you use your head, and you step back and you kind of look at that challenge and just figure, you know, there is a way to do it. You just got to figure out how to do it. You know, but it's that creativity really helps you do that, because you know, some people just don't have that, and you know, when they're faced with a situation that's foreign to them, and they just, well, I can't do it. There's no way to do it, so I'm just going to give up. You know, and when you do that, then stuff doesn't get done. So, yeah. I would say I would be better organized. You know, and I consider myself fairly organized, but I really had to work at it. I had to teach myself how to do it, because before I had this job, I really was not very organized, but I was kind of forced to do it, or else I wasn't gonna be able to do the job. You know, but you know, when you're in high school and in middle school, and all those teachers are, you know, having you fill out, you know, these, you know, organizational sheets, you know, planning out your day, and these planners and this, and you kind of don't really think anything of it. You think it's stupid, it's just a pain in the butt, and then, you know, I really wish I would have started doing that a lot sooner, you know, because that would have helped me if I would have been better at that, you know, later on in my career, for sure. That's a huge part.